Hello. The use of mind in practical action. The use of mind, the use of mind in practical action. Welcome, everyone. My name's Keith. Just here to share some vibes with you. Just here to share some vibes. Man lives to move forward. To move forward is to live more. To live more is to be more and to do more. And it is being and doing that constitutes the path to happiness. The more you are, the more you do, the richer your life, the greater your joy. But being and doing must always live together as one. To try to be much and not try to do much is to find life a barren wasteland. To try to do much and not try to be much, the being of much gives the necessary inspiration and the necessary power to the doing of much. The doing of much gives the necessary expression to being of much. And it is the bringing forth of being through the act of doing that produces happiness that is happiness. Being much gives capacity for doing much. Doing much gives expression to the richest and the best that is within us. And the more we increase the richness, of that which is within us, the more we increase our happiness, provided we increase in the same proportion. The expression of that greater richness, the first essential is provided for by the being of much, the second by the doing of much, and the secret of both may be found by him who lives to move forward. Good evening, Sue-Ann. Here, listen to this. I'm going to read something to you guys. Is the music too loud, by the way? Let me know if the music is too loud. In the present age, it is the power of the mind that rules the world. And therefore it is evident that he who has acquired the best use of the power of mind will realize the greatest success, and reach the highest places that attainment and achievement hold in store. The man who wins is the man who can apply in practical life every part of his mental ability, and who can make every action of his mind tell. We sometimes wonder why there are so many capable men and admirable women who do not reach those places in life that they seem to deserve. But the answer is simple. They do not apply the power of mind as they should. Their abilities and qualities are either misdirected or applied only in part. These people, however, should not permit themselves to become dissatisfied with fate, but should remember that every individuality who learns to make full use of the power of their mind will reach their goal. They will realize their desire and will positively win. You guys having a good night so far? Good evening, Raziel. Raziel, do you have a new name? The name seems unfamiliar. Thank you guys for joining. I'm hoping to give you guys some inspo for life. I know it's been, for me at least, kind of rough these past couple weeks. The turn of the year has been extraordinarily hopeful, but rough at the same time. I'm okay with that. Because I'm feeling good. So, something that really cheers me up is some text like the one I'm reading for you guys right now. Be sure to slap that like button, everybody. There are several reasons why, through the principal reason is found in the fact that when the power of the mind is used correctly in working out what we wish to accomplish, the other forces we possess are readily applied for the same purpose. And this fact becomes evident when we realize that the power of the mind is not only the ruling power in the world, but is also the ruling power in man itself. All other faculties in man are ruled by the power of his mind. It is the action of his mind that determines the action of all other forces in his possession. Therefore, to secure the results desired, he must give his first thought to the scientific and constructive application of mental action. I'm going to add commentary through the text because why not? You guys ever seen those? Okay. You can use your mind to reorganize your neurons in your brain. For example, there are these studies where people think about practicing the piano. And there's a group that actually practices the piano. And then, of course, there's the control group that doesn't practice piano at all. And they place these minds, these brain waves, under scanners. And they found that the people had just as much new neurogenesis, which is the growth of new nerves, new restructuring of the neurons in the brain, even if they didn't physically practice the piano. As much so, and in some cases even more so, than the people who were simply practicing physically and not thinking about it. The mind is all. And the mind is origin. Not the little mind, not the monkey mind. We need to have better words for this. But not the monkey mind, but the sort of... The mind is the thing that acts as the intermediary between, the etheric and the physical. Your mind can, for example, daydream, and you can put yourself at the pyramids right now if you wanted. You could be standing in front of the pyramids, at least in your mind's eye. You can be on the sun in your mind's eye. And your mind can also be here. My mind is also thinking in real time as I have this conversation with you. So it's this intermediary perspective between worlds. And it is the source of all. Anywho, let's keep going. In a preceding chapter, it was stated that the I am is the ruling principle in man, and from that statement, the conclusion may be drawn that the I am is the ruling power as well. But this is strictly not correct. There is a difference between principle and power, though for practical purposes it is not necessary to consider the abstract phase of this difference. All that is necessary is to realize that the I am directs the mind, and that the power of the mind directs and controls everything else in the human system. It is the mind that occupies the throne, but the I am is the power behind the throne. This being true, it becomes highly important to understand how the power of the mind should be used. But before we can understand the use of this power, we must learn what this power actually is. Generally speaking, we may see that the power of mind is the sum total of all the forces of the mental world, including those forces that are employed in the process of thinking. The power of mind includes the power of the will, the power of desire, the power of feeling, and the power of thought. It includes conscious action in all its phases and subconscious action in all its phases. In fact, it includes anything and everything that is placed in action through the mind, by the mind, or in the mind. To use the power of the mind, the first essential is to direct every mental action toward the goal in view, and this direction must not be occasional, but constant. Constant, y'all. Most minds, however, do not apply this law. They think about a certain thing one moment and about something else the next. At a certain hour, their mental actions work along a certain line, and at the next hour, those actions work along a different line. Sometimes the goal in view is one thing, and sometimes another, so the actions of the mind do not move constantly toward a certain definite goal, but are mostly scattered. And we know, however, that every individual who is actually working themselves steadily and surely toward the goal they have in view invariably directs all the power of their thought upon that goal. In their mind, not a single mental action is thrown away, not a single mental force wasted. All the power that is in them is being directed to work for what they wish to accomplish. And the reason that every power responds in this way is because they are not thinking of one thing now and something else in the next moment. They are thinking all the time of what they wish to attain and what they wish to achieve. the full power of mind is turned upon that object, and as mind is the ruling power, the full power of all their other forces will tend to work for the same object. Hello, Jemu. Hello, Seaflower. Come on in, everybody. And using the power of the mind using the power of the mind as well as all the other forces we possess, the first question to answer is, what do we really want? Or what we really want, or what do we really want to accomplish? And when this question is answered, the one thing that is wanted should be fixed so clearly in thought that it can be seen by the mind's eye every minute of every day. But the majority do not know what they really want. They may have some vague desire, but they have not determined clearly, definitely, and positively what they really want. And this is the principle that causes all failure. So long as we do not know definitely what we want, our forces will be scattered. And so long as our forces are scattered, will we accomplish but little or fail entirely. Is this ringing to anybody yet? Are you feeling it? Are you having any reactions? So when we know what we want and proceed to work for it with all our power, and all our ability, we may rest assured that we will get it. When we direct the power of thinking, the power of will, the power of mental action, the power of desire, ambition, in fact, all the power we possess on the one thing we want, on the one goal we desire to reach, it is not difficult to understand why success in a greater and greater measure must be realized. To illustrate this subject further, we will suppose that you have a certain ambition and continue to concentrate your thought and the power of your mind upon that ambition every minute for an indefinite period with no cessation whatsoever. The result will be that you will gradually and surely train all the forces within you to work for the realization of that ambition, and in the course of time, the full capacity of your entire mental system will be applied in working for that particular thing. On the other hand, suppose you do as most people do under the average circumstances. Suppose after you have given your ambition a certain amount of thought, you come to the conclusion that possibly you might succeed better along another line. Then you begin to direct the power of your mind along that other line. Later on, you come to the conclusion that there is still another channel through which you might succeed, and you proceed accordingly to direct your mind upon this third line of thought. Then what happens? Simply this. You will make 3 good beginnings, but in every case you will stop before you have accomplished anything. There are thousands of capable men and women who make this mistake every year, every moment of their lives. And the full force of their mental system is directed upon a certain ambition only for a short time. Then it is directed elsewhere. They never continue long enough along any particular line to secure results from their efforts, and therefore results are never secured. Then there are other minds who give most of their attention to a certain ambition and succeed fairly well, but give the rest of their attention to a number of minor ambitions that have no particular importance. Man, I needed this reading. What we're reading tonight, you guys, if you're here, we have 12 people in this room. Our 12 disciples. If y'all are here, and I'm number 13, baby. We need this. I'm so glad you guys found yourselves here. I'm so glad I decided to read this tonight, because this is the energy we need to take into 2023. And I'm guilty probably more than most. With my Aries ass friggin' shiny object syndrome, I'm always like, yo, that's dope. I want to get better at that. And ooh, it'd be cool if I'm good at that. And oh, it'd be even cooler if I'm good at that. And I need to just calmate, cálmese. Relax, breathe, focus on one thing, even if it kills you. Even if it kills me, just grind, baby, on that one thing. Take pride in the monotony. Take pride in the mundane aspect of your craft, because they're in all crafts, baby. They're in all of them. So here's one of the things a lot of people don't realize about their potential is, well, just that, their potential. And it's not until you pursue something on red line for long enough, despite all odds, that you realize you have sleeping qualities in your soul. You guys we all have these sleeping qualities, these latent qualities in ourselves that haven't been woken up yet, because there hasn't been a need for them. And that's how nature works. Nature only fills the void where there's a need, but it always fills the void. The void is always filled. Nature abhors a vacuum. You make a vacuum, life fills it, baby, immediately. And then a new space is created, and then it's filled, and then a new space is created, and then it's filled. Bacteria, Earth was lifeless, and then there was bacteria, and then the bacteria filled the world, and then it filled the oceans, and then it spread onto land, and it filled the land, and then it spread into the sky, and now life fills the sky. And now humans are here, and we start filling the solar system. We got stations on the moon, we got rovers on Mars. We're filling, where life grows, life expands, life fills the vacuum. But we have to create that vacuum. We have to reach max capacity on whatever it is, that on whatever state, wherever you're at in your life. You have to fill it to capacity so that you even have a chance to create something new. And that's more important than ever. Sunglasses at night, Seaflower. Hello, Salavi. Hello, Rachel. Rachel England. Hello, Rachel England. I'm stoked that you caught us. Let me know if the music's too loud. It sounds loud on my end, but I don't know if that's the case on yours. Anywho, let's keep going. Be sure to like the video, you guys. Thank you for being here. I love you. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It's a beautiful night, isn't it? All right. They never continue long enough on a particular landscape. Then there are other minds who give most of their attention to a certain ambition, and they let's see. Hold on. Next chapter. I'm sorry. But in this age, efficiency is demanded everywhere in world's work. And anyone who wants to occupy a place that will satisfy their ambition and desire cannot afford to waste even a small part of the power that they possess. They need it all along the line of their leading ambition, and therefore should not permit counter-attractions to occupy their mind even for a moment. If you have a certain ambition or a certain desire, think about that ambition at all times. Keep that ambition before your mind constantly, and do not hesitate to make your ambition as high as possible. The higher you aim, the greater will be your achievements, though that does not necessarily mean that you will realize your highest aims as fully as you have pictured them in your mind. But the fact is that those who have low aims usually realize what is even below their aims, while those who have high aims usually realize very nearly, if not fully, what their original ambitions call for. The principle is to direct the power of the mind upon the very highest, the very largest, and the very greatest mental conception of that which we intend to achieve. The first essential, therefore, is to direct the full power of mind and thought upon the goal in view, and to continue to direct the mind in that manner every minute, regardless of circumstance or condition. The second essential is to make every mental action positive. When we desire certain things, or when we think of certain things we wish to attain, or things that we wish to achieve, the question should be if our mental attitudes at the time are positive or negative. To answer this, we only have to remember that every positive action always goes towards that which receives its attention, while a negative action always retreats. A positive action is an action that you feel when you realize that every force in your entire system is pushed forward, and that it is passing through what may be termed an expanding and enlarging state of feeling or consciousness. Flow state, anybody? The positive attitude of mind is always indicated by the feeling of a firm, determined fullness throughout the nervous system. When every nerve feels full, strong, and determined, you are in the positive attitude. And whatever you may do at the time of will produce, whatever you may do at the time will produce results along the line of your desire or your ambition. When you are in a positive state of mind, you are never nervous or disturbed. You are never agitated, strenuous. In fact, the more positive you are, the deeper your calmness and the better your control over your entire system. The positive man is not one who rushes helter-skelter here and there regardless of judgment or constructive action, but one who is absolutely calm, one who is absolutely controlled under every circumstance, and yet so thoroughly full of energy that every atom in his being is ready under every circumstance to accomplish and to achieve. This energy is not permitted to act, however, until the proper time arrives, and then it goes directly into the goal in view. The positive mind is always in harmony with itself, while the negative mind is always out of harmony, and thereby loses the greater part of its power. Positiveness always means strength stored up, power held in the system under perfect control until the time of action, and during the time of action directed constructively under the same perfect control. It's a very masculine approach. Charged up energy that is expelled outward, but is also controlled energy expelled outward. That's healthy masculine. And where does it go? Think of electrons. Think of electricity. Electricity shoots out. Electrons traveling. And where do they go? They go to the negative pole, the feminine, the container. They go to fill the void that we were just talking about. They go to fill the void that we were just talking about. So the positive mind is always in harmony with itself, while the negative mind is always out of harmony, and thereby loses the greater part of its power. Positiveness always means strength. We read that part out. In the positive mind, all the actions of the mental system are working in harmony and being fully directed toward the object in view. While in the negative mind, those same actions are scattered, restless, nervous, disturbed, moving here and there, sometimes under direction, but most of the time not. That the one should invariably succeed is therefore just as evident as that the others should invariably fail. Scattered energy cannot do otherwise but fail, while positively directed energy simply must succeed. A positive mind is like a powerful stream of water that is gathering volume and force from hundreds of tributaries all along its source. The further on it goes, the greater its power, until when it reaches its goal, that power is simply immense. The negative mind, however, would be something like a stream that the further it flows, the more divisions it makes, until when it reaches its goal, instead of being one powerful stream, it has become 100 small, weak, shallow streams. To develop positiveness, it is necessary to cultivate those qualities that constitute positiveness. Make it a point to give your whole attention to what you want to accomplish, and give that attention firmness, calmness, and determination. Try to give a depth to every desire until you feel as if all the powers of your system were acting not on the surface but from the greater void within. As this attitude is cultivated, positiveness will become more and more distinct until you can actually feel yourself gaining power and prestige. And the effect will not only be noticed in your own ability to better direct and apply your talents, but others will discover the change. Accordingly, those who are looking for people of power, people who can who can do things, the movers, the makers, will look to you as one to occupy the position that has to be filled. Positiveness, therefore, not only gives you the ability to make a far better use of the forces you possess, but it also gives you personality. That much admired something that will most surely cause you to be selected where people of power are needed. The world does not care for negative personalities. Such personalities look weak and empty and are usually ignored. But everybody is attracted to a positive personality, and it is the positive personality that is always given the preference. Nor is this otherwise but right, because the positive personality has better use of their power, and therefore is able to act with greater efficiency wherever they are called upon to act. How you guys enjoying the audiobook so far? I feel like I needed this message, man. I really did. I needed this message so bad. It's a pleasure to read for you, Tracy. It really is. It's a pleasure to read for you guys. Thank you, guys. I know, Steiner. No one beats Larson as far as these old school writers go. Christian Larson, who wrote the book that I'm reading, it's got such a. He's a little. I would say new agey, but he's an OG new age. You know, he was when it first came out. Not the watered down new age, not the redundant new age. This dude was writing this stuff before anyone else was, more or less. And he has such a poetic way of giving the information. I love it. I love it so much. I love you guys for being here. Let's keep going with this audiobook, yeah? Mary, Paul, Seaflower, Tracy, all you guys, thank you so much for being here. Everyone hit the like button for me, please, so we can get more people up in this video. Let's keep going. The third essential. In the right use of the mind is to make every mental action constructive. And a constructive mental action is one that is based upon a deep-seated desire to develop, to increase, to achieve, to attain. In brief, to become larger and greater, and to do something of far greater worth than has been done before. If you will cause every mental action you entertain to have that feeling, constructiveness will soon become second nature to your entire mental system. That is, all the forces of your mind will begin to become building forces, and will continue to build you up along any line through which you may desire to act. Inspire your mind constantly with a building desire, and make this desire so strong that every part of your system will constantly feel that it wants to become greater, more capable, and more efficient. An excellent practice in this connection is to try to enlarge upon all your ideas of things whenever you have a spare moment for real thought. This practice will tend to produce a growing tendency in every process of your thinking. Another good practice is to inspire every mental action with more ambition. We cannot have too much ambition. That's interesting. Sorry, I feel like I cut off his thought, but let it be noted that these OG spiritual thinkers, at least from the early 20th century, were all about ambition, desire, doing more, being more. And now we've sort of recoiled. Maybe that's the imbalance. I guess no one has it perfect, right? Or what do you guys think? Hearing a statement as you can never have too much ambition, and then understanding the connotation of ambition now, which is, if you have too much ambition, you're almost too ego-driven, you're too desire-driven, sort of very anti-Buddhism, which the spiritual world tends to lean into a little bit. So curious what you guys think about that. Anywho, let's go. He says we cannot have too much ambition. Then he says we may have too much aimless ambition, but we cannot have too much real constructive ambition. All right, look at that. Look at him. See? Already correcting himself. Or not correcting himself, but explaining himself. I'm liking where he's going. If your ambition is very strong and is directed towards something definite, every action of your mind, every action of your personality, and every action of your faculties will become constructive. That is, all those actions will be inspired by the tremendous force of your ambition to work for the realization of that ambition. Never permit restless ambition. Whenever you feel the force of ambition, direct your mind at once in a calm, determined manner upon that which you really want to accomplish. I'm going to read that again. Never permit restless ambition. Whenever you feel the force of ambition, direct your mind at once in a calm, determined manner upon that which you really want to accomplish in life. Make this a daily practice, and you will steadily train all your faculties and all your powers not only to work for the realization of that ambition, but become more and more efficient in that direction. Before long, your forces and faculties will be sufficiently competent to accomplish what you want. I love that. I love that. In the proper use of the mind, therefore, these three essentials should be applied constantly and thoroughly. First, direct all the powers of the mind, all the powers of thought, and all your thinking upon the goal you have in view. This is a recap if you guys are taking notes. I'll take notes. I'll actually write this whole thing down. Copy this whole chapter, because this whole chapter, or this whole paragraph, is a conclusion of the chapter. See, I also appreciate that he does this. He writes it almost like a textbook. You introduce the key terms, you define them, you expand upon them, and then in the conclusion, you bring it all back. You restate the terms and briefly describe them. It's beautiful, man. Picture perfect. Picture perfect. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Christian. So first, what we learned is direct all the powers of the mind, all the powers of thought, and all your thinking upon the goal you have in view. Second, train every mental action to be deeply and calmly positive. And third, train every mental action to be constructive, to be filled with a building spirit, to be inspired with a ceaseless desire to develop the greater, to achieve the greater, to attain the power. When you have acquired these three, you will begin to use your forces in such a way that results must follow. You will begin to move forward steadily and surely, and you will be constantly gaining ground. Your mind will have become like the stream mentioned above. It will gather volume and force as it moves on until finally that volume will be great enough to remove any obstacle in your way. And that force powerful enough to do anything you may have in view. In order to apply these three essentials in the most effective manner, there are several misuses of the mind that must be avoided. Avoid the forceful, the aggressive, and the domineering attitudes, and do not permit your mind to become intense unless it is under perfect control. Never attempt to control or influence others in any way whatever. You will seldom succeed in that manner, and when you do, the success will be temporary. Besides, such a practice always weakens your mind. Do not turn the power of your mind upon others, but turn it upon yourself in such a way that it will make you stronger, more positive, more capable, and more efficient. And as you develop in this manner, success must come. It must. There is only one way by which you can influence others legitimately, and that is through the giving of instruction. But in that case, there is no desire to influence. You desire simply to impart knowledge and information, and you exercise a most desirable influence without even desiring to do so. I love that. Man, we read this book on the channel a couple of years ago, but I always come back to it. I always come back to it. How you guys doing out there? Drop a comment if you're not driving or something. Let us know where you're residing from. I hope you're having a good evening. It's a beautiful beautiful Wednesday night, right? Wednesday. I'm Keith. If you guys are just checking in, we're reading from one of my favorite books called Your Forces and How to Use Them by Christian Larson. I hope you're getting as much out of it as I are. Feel free to take notes. Please like the video so we can get more people in here. And all right, let's go. A great many men and women, after discovering the immense power of the mind, have come to the conclusion that they might change circumstances by exercising mental power upon those circumstances in some mysterious manner. But such a practice means nothing but a waste of energy. The way to control circumstances is to control the forces within yourself to make a greater human being of yourself. And as you become greater and more competent, you will naturally gravitate into better circumstances. In this connection, we should remember that like attracts like. If you want that which is better, make yourself better. If you want to realize the ideal, make yourself more ideal. If you want better friends, make yourself a better friend. If you want to associate with people of worth, make yourself more worthy. If you want to meet that which is agreeable, make yourself more agreeable. If you want to enter conditions and circumstances that are more pleasing, make yourself more pleasing. In brief, whatever you want, produce that something in yourself, and you will positively gravitate towards the corresponding conditions in the external world. But to improve yourself along those lines, it is necessary to apply for that purpose all the power that you possess. You cannot afford to waste any of it, and every misuse of the mind will waste power. Avoid all destructive attitudes of the mind, such as anger, hatred, malice, envy, jealousy, revenge, depression, discouragement, disappointment, worry, fear, and so on ad infinitum. Never antagonize, never resist what is wrong, and never try to get even. Make the best use of your own talent, and the best that is in store for you will positively come your way. When others seem to take advantage of you, do not retaliate by trying to take advantage of them. Use your power in improving yourself so that you can do better and be better and do better work. That is how you are going to win in the long run. Later on, those who try to take advantage of you will be left in the rear. Remember, those who are dealing unjustly with you or with anybody else are misusing their own mind. They are therefore losing their power and will in the course of time begin to lose ground. But if you, in the meantime, are turning the full power of your mind to good account, you will not only gain more power, but you will soon begin to gain ground. You will gain and continue to gain in the long run, while others who have been misusing their minds will lose mostly everything in the long run. That is how you are going to win, and win splendidly regardless of ill treatment or opposition. A great many people imagine that they can promote their own success by trying to prevent the success of others, but it is only one of the greatest delusions of the world. If you want to promote your own success as thoroughly as your capacity will permit, take an active interest in the success of everybody, because this will not only keep your mind in a success attitude and cause you to think success at all times, but it will enlarge your mind so as to give you a greater and better grasp upon the fields of success. You are trying to prevent the success. If you are trying to prevent the success of others, you are acting on the destructive attitude, which sooner or later will react on others. But if you are taking an active interest in the success of everybody, you are entertaining only constructive attitudes. And these will sooner or later accumulate in your own mind to add volume and power to the forces of success that you are building in yourself. In this connection, we may well ask why those succeed who do succeed, why so many succeed only in part, and why so many fail utterly. These are questions that occupy the minds of most people, and hundreds of answers have been given, but there is only one answer that goes to rock bottom. Those people who fail and who continue to fail all along the line fail because the power of their mind is either in a habitual negative state or is always misdirected. If the power of mind is not working positively and constructively for a certain goal, you are not going to succeed. If your mind is not positive, it is negative, and negative minds float with the stream. We must remember that we are in the midst of all kinds of circumstances, some of which are for us and some of which are against us. And we will either have to make our own way or drift, And if we drift, we go wherever the stream goes. But most of the streams of human life are found to float in the world of the ordinary and inferior. And therefore, if you drift, you will drift with the inferior, and your goal will be failure. It's funny, he uses the word drift in a negative way, like Napoleon Hill does with the drifter in Interview with the Devil. And what's up? I've been saying this all along, the go with the flow type people. Again, how do you guys feel about this? This is not very, but it is subtly in opposition to many of the teachings we hear today and the sort of Buddhist, I say Buddhist loosely and vaguely, don't quote me on that, but sort of idea that go with the flow, don't be active, be passive, be flowy. How do you guys feel about that? I'm not saying one way is right and the other way is wrong, but just curious how you guys feel. When we analyze the minds of people who have failed, we invariably find that they are either negative, non-constructive, or aimless. Their forces scattered. And what is in them is seldom applied constructively. There is an emptiness about their personality that indicates negativeness. There is an uncertainty in their facial expression that indicates the absence of definite ambition. There is nothing of a positive, determined nature going on in their mental world. They have not taken definite action along any line. They are dependent upon fate. And I'm going to stop reading right there. I got a little, well, I'll continue, but this whole time I'm reading, I'm thinking about music and some of my musician friends who are making it big at the moment, and their personalities and how they are when I'm around them. And I'm not going to lie, I love them all, and I didn't believe these thoughts that I'm about to share with you, but the thoughts have been there nonetheless, and reading this text is sort of making my eyes open. They're always overly excited, overly positive, overly homies, but is it overly? Or have they just figured something out? And I can't help but feel reading this again that maybe these homies have just figured something out, and they're not being fake, and they're not just putting on a show because they're big shots now. That's just how they are. They are ultra focused, or maybe not even ultra focused. They have a definite goal and a definite cause, and they use all their mental faculties and a positive frame of mind to pursue that. In spite of, not saying that bad things don't happen, but again, it's how we react to things that really sets the tone. It's not, you can get sick, catch the flu, and you're down for 2 weeks, out of your control for the most part. But it's how you react to that that's really going to set the tone for your character development, for how you're going to proceed in the future, to your sort of baseline frequency that you exist as. That's what it's going to be determined by, is your reaction towards the circumstance. So I invite you all to sort of think about that. I don't know if you guys know people who are all of a sudden just getting it, and they're exploding on social media or in their business or whatever, as a parent or as a friend, just whatever it is, and sort of use that if you can. If you can. I picked a long chapter. I didn't realize how long this chapter was. Passive feminine energy has its place with balancing active and masculine energy. Yeah, 100%. And I'll call out feminine stuff in the book, in this chapter, as I go over it, because he definitely has. It's been mostly, I think this chapter specifically is very masculine based, where it's like drive, focus, concentration, willpower, definite goal. Like, these are all very acute, focused, controlled qualities. We could say that the power or I would say that the power you access by using these would be the feminine, because the feminine is that pure potential, is that emotional energy, is the raw potential. And the masculine only guides that power, the feminine. Like the masculine only guides, provides a framework, provides a direction for the feminine. And then the feminine receives and creates. Everything grows within the feminine. Anywho. So it says they are dependent upon fate and circumstances. We're talking about the drifters. They are drifting with some stream, and that they should accomplish little, if anything, is inevitable. This does not mean, however, that their mental world is necessarily unproductive. In fact, those minds are in many instances immensely rich with possibilities. See, there's the feminine right there. The feminine is pure potential, meaning immense possibility. Like a child, just immense possibility. And it goes on to say, the trouble is those possibilities continue to be dormant, and what is in them is not being brought forth and trained for definite action or actual results. So there is right there. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. That's his blend of the feminine. He said it perfectly. We are all filled with immense possibilities, power, ideas, emotion. But it needs direction for it to actually materialize in this realm, in any realm. What these people should do is to proceed at once to comply with the 3 essentials mentioned above, and before many months there will be a turn in the lane. They will soon cease to drift, and will then begin to make their own life, their own circumstances, and their own future. In this connection, it is well to remember that negative people and non-constructive minds never attract that which is helpful in their circumstance. The more you drift, the more people you meet who also drift. While on the other hand, when you begin to make your own life and become positive, you begin to meet more positive people and more constructive circumstances. That might be an interesting little tidbit. Let's see if we can start paying attention to the people we have regular conversations with, regular friendships with, and see where the friendships grow. Like, I've been growing a few friendships with people who are stagnant and drifters. Oh shit. Maybe I'm stagnant drifter. Or you could say, I've been befriending a couple people who are like on it and successful and have definite goals and definite plans of actions. Whatever they may be. Even if your definite plan is to do nothing, you know what I mean? That's still a definite plan. And like, okay, maybe that means I'm on the right track. Works both ways, right? So this explains why God helps them that help themselves. When you begin to help yourself, which means to make the best of what is in yourself, you begin to attract to yourself more and more of those helpful things that may exist all about you. In other words, constructive forces attract constructive forces. A growing mind attracts elements and forces that help to promote growth, and people who are determined to make more and more of themselves are drawn more and more into circumstances through which they will find the opportunity to make more of themselves. And this law works not only in connection with the external world, but also the internal world. When you begin to make a positive, determined use of those powers in yourself that are already in positive action, you draw forth into action powers within you that have been dormant. And as this process continues, you will find that you will accumulate volume, capacity, and power in your mental world until you finally become a mental giant. As you begin to grow and become more capable, you will find that you will meet better and better opportunities, not only opportunities for promoting external success, but opportunities for further building internal successes, for building yourself up along the lines of ability, capacity, and talent. You thus demonstrate the law that nothing succeeds like success, and to him that hath shall be given. And here it is well to remember that it is not necessary to possess external things in the beginning to be counted among them that have. It is only necessary in the beginning to possess the interior riches, that is, to take control of what is in you now, and proceed to use it positively with a definite goal in view. He who has control of his own mind has already great riches. They have sufficient wealth to be placed among those who have. They are already successful, and if they continue as they begin, the success will soon appear in the external world. Thus, the wealth that existed at first in the internal only will take shape and form in the external. This is a law that is unfailing, and there is not a man or woman on the face of the earth that cannot apply it with the most satisfying results. The reason why so many people fail is thus found in the fact that they do not fully and constructively apply the forces and powers they possess, and the reason why so many succeed only to a slight degree is found in the fact that only a small fraction of their power is applied. But anyone can learn the full and proper use of all that is in them by applying faithfully the 3 essentials mentioned above, that we've already written down, right? You guys have already written those down. The reason why those succeed who do succeed is found in the fact that a large measure of their forces and powers is applied according to those 3 essentials. And those essentials can be applied by anyone, even to the most perfect degree. There is no reason why all should not succeed. Sometimes we meet people who have only ordinary ability, but who are very successful. Then we meet others who have great ability, but who are not successful, or who succeed only to a slight degree. At first, we see no explanation, but when we understand the cause of success as well as the cause of failure, the desired explanation is, well, it's pretty easily found. The man or the woman with ordinary ability, if they comply with the 3 essentials necessary to the right use of mind, will naturally succeed. Though if they had greater ability, their success would be, of course, become greater in proportion. But the individual who has great ability, yet does not apply the 3 essentials necessary to the right use of mind, cannot succeed. The positive and constructive use of the power of mind with a definite goal in view will invariably result in advancement, attainment, and achievement. But if we wish to use that power in its full capacity, the action of the mind must be deep. In addition to the right use of the mind, we must also learn the full use of the mind, and as the full use implies the use of the whole mind, the deeper mental fields and forces, as well as the usual mental fields and forces. It is necessary to understand the subconscious as well as the subconscious. Which leads us straight into chapter 4, the forces of the subconscious. Don Coolio, all is mental. Yeah, lots of hermetics in this stuff, huh? Congrats on the new baby, Black Coffee. Congrats on the new baby. I hope parenthood's going good. Hello, everyone. We've just finished that chapter. I kind of want to read the intro. I'm going to read on the subconscious mind. I'll leave you guys with a little brain, a little food for thought. Chapter 4, the forces of the subconscious. When you think of yourself, do not think of that part of yourself that appears on the surface. That part is the smaller part, and the lesser should not be pictured in the mind. Actually, before that, remember how I said last chapter was super masculine based? Well, it was talking about the mind, the conscious mind. Now we're talking about the subconscious mind, which is the feminine, which is the powerhouse of any individual. This is where the power comes from. This is the vastness. This is the immense possibility. That's the subconscious mind, which is impregnated by the masculine mind. And because it's up to the masculine mind, for the most part, to choose. I can choose to go on live and share information with you guys. I can choose to eat junk food. I can choose to watch the news or, watch scary movies or, I make all these conscious choices, and those program my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind is passive. It takes in energy for the most part. And once the subconscious mind is programmed, it reverberates that baseline frequency out into the world. So so the subconscious has its aspect of the masculine, just like the yin and yang symbol. There's a little bit of white in the black. There's a little bit of black on the white. Subconscious mind is the same way. The subconscious mind has its little bit of masculine in that it emanates your base frequency, but it is mostly feminine based, in which it's mostly, or it's completely at the will of the conscious mind, or someone else's conscious mind, if they're dominating your will or they're dominating your subconscious, trying to be TV, movies, food. Anywho, chapter 4 is our balance. So his little introduction paragraph says this: when you think of yourself, do not think of that part of yourself that appears on the surface. That part is the smaller part, and the lesser should not be pictured in mind. Think of your larger self, the immense subconscious self that is limitless in both power and in possibility. Believe in yourself, but not simply in a part of yourself. Give constant recognition to all that is in you, and in that all have full faith and full confidence. Give the bigger being on the inside full right of way. Believe thoroughly in your greater interior self. Know that you have something within you. That is greater than any obstacle, any circumstance, or any difficulty that you can possibly meet. Then, in the full faith in this greater something, proceed with your work. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. I hope you are enjoying yourself. I hope you're enjoying the readings. Thank you, guys. Much love. 21 likes and 18 watching. I love the ratio. I love it. Everyone who's coming through, let me know what's up. How you guys doing? Where are you coming from? If you enjoyed the reading and you want to leave a little super chat, what's up? Every dollar chipped in is a cup of tea or something for our cold readings. Even though I didn't make tea tonight, I made water. But I made water. But thank you guys for supporting. Thank you, Patreon supporters. Salavi, I believe you're still a Patreon supporter. Caleb, what's up, brother? Yeah. Jose Santo. Glad you guys are listening. Any newcomers? Are there any newcomers here who are not subscribers? Curious to see if anyone else is here. Let's see if we can be extraordinarily diligent. Even this next week, can we do that? Can we have an accountability buddy group where we're all just the next 7 days? What's today? Wednesday until next Wednesday, where we're just diligent about what our mind is focused on and what we're putting our energy into. Because a lot of times what we'll do is we'll put energy into God, reading something is putting energy into it. Watching a show is putting, I don't know. It's like, it's tough. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh man, it's just, the question is, how bad do you want it? Or how successful do you want to be at it? How soon do you want it to happen? How soon do you want made material the immense potential that you have, that we have, that I have? How bad do you want it? How bad? Oh, thank you so much, Black Coffee, for the donation. I really appreciate that. That helps because I am running this live with some lo-fi tracks online, which means I can't monetize the video. So, what's up? Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Black Coffee, and congrats. Our youngest and oldest, our only, is gonna turn 4 in February, and the time has flown. Oh my God! You're gonna have so much fun with your little child. Willpower, Salavi. Oh man, see, that's what I'm saying. I gotta activate that willpower. It's like I'm so good at accomplishing something that I set my mind to. Like, you guys, I'm unbelievably good at accomplishing something I put my mind to. I just have a tendency to put my mind to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 too many things at a time. That's all good though. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you though, Black Coffee, and congrats on the baby. Do you guys want to hear anything else? Should we pull a card? Should we pull a card? Be safe. I hope you guys are safe. I hope you're drinking plenty of water out there. Exercise. Please get exercise. I haven't been able to exercise because I had surgery a couple weeks ago, so I got to give myself a couple more days rest. A little card? We'll grab a little card. All right, Black Coffee, since you donated to the channel, give me a number and we'll pull a card. You'll set the tone. You'll set the tone. You'll set the tone. It's getting cold as hell out here too. 4, yes, Salavi. His birthday is the 6th of February, and little baby Atlas is turning 4. Turning 4. And card number 5 from Black Coffee. Okay. Card number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are so many amendments to the Constitution, and I only choose one. I choose the 5th. F-I-F. 5th. 2, 3, 4. This is our collective pool. Salavi, Black Coffee called out our collective pool. Let's see here. The King of Swords. Tarot readings are so much fun, aren't they? I feel like every time I do a reading, it's just like, it's pretty on point. So we pulled King of Swords tarot card. Even if it's not on point, here's the thing. I don't know how you guys use tarot cards, but I use tarot cards not as like a divination tool of like, is my lover going to meet me or something like that. It's just like, so it's just a piece of information that's useful at the time, and it seems to always apply to whatever situation I'm in. We just pulled the King of Swords, which says, listen to the inner wisdom offered by the wise elder that dwells inside of you. Traditionally representing the energy of a king, this masculine energy form is the adjudicator. I don't know what that word means. What's adjudicator? A Jude? Law? Something with law? Someone who deals law? Let's see. Oh, a judge. An arbitrator. Man, we're good. We're good. So, traditionally is the adjudicator, the wise judge or mediator. He helps parties in conflict discover common ground and build upon it, and guides societies to see their greater good. His archetype is Solomon, ancient lawgiver and philosopher of the Old Testament, sometimes appearing cool and detached, so he can be understood as not caring. But emotional displays are just not his medium, nor is he moved by appeals to sympathy or pity. With the philosophical overview that comes from long experience, he listens deeply, watches closely, and speaks last. In the end, his even-handedness and objectivity earn him the respect he receives from his community, and those who cannot work out their problems come to him voluntarily for advice. Occasionally, this man is subtly detailed to imply that he is a woman in male armor. Ooh, plot twist. Occasionally, this man is subtly detailed to imply that he is a woman in male armor. If you notice this theme in your deck, it is a reference to Joan of Arc. That's just what I was thinking too. Joan of Arc. The Maid of Orleans. Archetype of a devout and inspired woman warrior who was mystically led to abandon her social role to defend what she saw as the greater good. And although she was martyred young, her model crystallizes the message that sometimes the good of the whole is more important than the good of the individual. And in that case, even if you lose, you win for just being there. So this card advises us to research our situations and in the process question existing authorities. It may be time to examine underlying assumptions and bring greater clarity into areas that have been left in the dark. Don't wait for others to do it. Instead, draw your own conclusions. Spend time reviewing all the ramifications because this King of Swords requires a thorough, methodical examination of ideas and of possibilities. Call forth the sober and wise part of yourself, the elder father figure. Then act on the instructions given you. Oh, all right. All right. All right. So the woman in male armor. I like it. How do you guys feel about that? Call forth the sober, wise part of yourself, the elder father figure, then act on the instructions given you. Chicago. I got some homies, I have a homie in Chicago, I should say. It's not snowing here, but I am breathing smoke out here. It's been getting down to the low 40s where I live, which is not snowing by any means. It's probably comfy for you guys, but it's cold as balls here. Cool. You guys should add me on Instagram. Hit me up. If you ever need anything, ever have any questions, my Instagram is I am Keyth G. I am Keyth G. If you have any questions, concerns, some friends become enemies, some enemies become friends, you need some help on something, boom, hit me up. Be wise of that King of Swords. That's useful for me. Swords are always doing the cutting thing, so we needed that cutting. I guess for me, I want to tie that last card into the chapter we just read on making sure we're aligning all our mental faculties and therefore all our faculties, period, on the thing that we want. And the swords cut through, they cut out. To decision to take to cut something away from, that's what we're doing. And particularly with that King of Swords is telling us that we sort of need to take the sober view, the non-judgmental view. It seems to not fiery, it's not earthy, it's wise, but it's quiet. It's observant, but it listens. It has something to say. It has something to say, but it listens, is what I should say. How about that? That's our energy for here. This king energy has something to say, has something powerful to say, but it listens. So give yourself time to listen. Meditate. Wake up a little earlier. Get a little meditation thing going. Burn some tree. Have a cup of tea. Do your thing, and listen to what it is that you want. Listen to what you're feeling. Listen. I was doing a meditation earlier today. I was getting all emotional and shit. I was like tearing up, and it was almost like my body was doing these chants like, oh, I love myself, I trust myself, I honor myself, I value myself. And it was almost like, of course, when I say it out loud, it's like obvious, but saying them out loud was almost hitting parts of me that was going, thanks, like, fuck, finally, bro. And it was moving me. It was feeling good. It was sad, only sad because I realized that I wasn't acknowledging that side of myself, but happy because I was finally acknowledging that side of myself, and it just took me listening, took me slowing down, and then I had something to say, and then the thoughts came through clear, and then the inspiration came through clear, and maybe that's what we need with this card. We need to listen, and intently and powerfully, so that when the voice does come through, it's meaningful and it's deep and it is with depth and it comes through with ease and grace, because that's how I want 2023 to be for at least me, is ease and grace, baby. Ease and grace. And with that being said, thank you guys for chilling, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, take it easy. Bye everybody. Bye.